getting set for race number 2. Look at them. Tens of thousands, and the field is out on the starting line and away on their warm-up lap. Warming their tyres as they go around this 3.93 kilometre circuit, and here is how they will line up. And note, there have been some changes. Greg Murphy will start from pole from Mark Scaife, Jason Bright, John Bowe, Paul Radisich, Brad Jones, Paul Morris and Paul Wheel.
Now, you might have seen Craig Lowndes and Marcus Ambrose finish 1-2 in Heat 1. They've been moved down the order. We'll get to that just after this grid read. There's been some major controversy here at Eastern Creek this afternoon. 16th is Todd Kelly.
Glenn Seaton heads up the next group. Tratt, Bernard, Tander, Dulman, Larkham, Ingle and Perkins.
And they keep on coming. Cameron McConville and Stephen Ellery, Dean Canto and John Faulkner, Trevor Ashby, Paul Romano, Jason Bargwana and Tyler Mecklin in 32nd.
For only the second time in the history of the V8 Supercar Championship, a heat victor has been stripped of his race win. Here's how it happened. We jump aboard with Craig Lowndes. This is in race 1. Now, for those of you that have access to widescreen digital television, you may be able to pick this up. There is a safety car board being shown here, and in the left of your screen, a yellow flag where Greg Murphy's car enters turn 2. Craig Lowndes didn't see it. He passed Murphy. For that move, he copped a 29-second or the equivalent of a stop-go penalty, dropping him to 12th for the start of this race.
Similar news down in the Stone Brothers pit. It's for this incident too, for Marcus Ambrose, and that touch right there up the back of Greg Murphy. Officials have deemed that illegal, and therefore he'll be bumped back to grid number 13 for race 2.
Murphy gets the jump. Scaife slots across to the left. One of the shell cars up the inside very quickly. Slightly messy grid as they go through turn 1. Lots of dust and grass being kicked up. Murphy's got a huge margin going down to turn 2.
Hopefully it's a nice clean getaway as they sweep down through that very fast turn 1. Hard under brakes for the second turn.
Oh, look at that.
And there's one in trouble already.
Oh, it's one of the
Paul Wheel.
Paul Wheel.
K&J thermal car gets out on the dirt, manages to gather it up. Looks relatively clean now as they swing through turn 3. Murphy drops the wheel off the edge of the track. Big puff of dirt there. And looking back in the pack, there's Marcus Ambrose. He got the jump, in fact, on Craig Lowndes.
Brad Jones has got a very good start as well. I think he'd be up around 5th or 6th thereabouts in the Aussie Mail entry.
It's taken him the whole break to wipe the smile off his face. It's the first bit of luck he's had this year.
So Murphy punches it up Corporate Hill. There's Scaife in second. His teammate Jason Bright doing what he did in Adelaide, working his way up. He's had a difficult start to the weekend, and the car's got better and better as the race day has progressed. Oh, a bit of a contact there between Canto and Wheel.
3 into 2 does not go.
Hard under brakes down through turn 9. The sharp 180-degree hairpin. All the cars starting to get in a single file formation as they swing back toward the main straight for the first time.
How's the cold tyre gallop from Murphy and Scaife in the opening lap? They have absolutely put daylight between themselves and the third place car. The leaders coming onto the start pretty straight. Here's the points after race 1. Bright 8:20, Scaife 7:55, Johnson, Ingle, Kelly and Murphy. So it's Murphy that leads them across the line. The Holden fans come to life. Scaife in second.
Nearly 2 seconds they pulled out in one lap.
Bright is third. Then we've got Radisich, Jones, then Bowe, and the word from the pit lane is that Greg Murphy has been given a stop-go penalty for creeping at the start.
Wow.
Yeah, me.
These officials certainly reacted big time. They are coming down tough on anyone. Stop-go penalty.
Mark Scaife will become our new race leader. What a recovery after yesterday's qualifying.
I hope Murphy's got holes drilled in the side of his helmet, because there is going to be steam coming out of that helmet.
Next lap. Go past this lap and then come in next lap.
Okay, that's the word from Rob Crawford, the Kmart Racing team manager. And Murphy will be pretty steamed up about that one. He just got what he considered was fair justice for the incident with Marcus Ambrose after race 1. Now he's been dealt the same tough blow by the officials.
I didn't see his start relative to the lights, but relative to Mark Scaife, he was definitely creeping.
So Scaife now, is he going to inherit the lead of this one? Keep in mind, we've got compulsory tyre change coming up between laps 8 and 18. So there's plenty more could unfold in this drama-packed weekend at Eastern Creek Raceway. You're riding with Mark Scaife, the reigning Shell Series champion. He would have had the word now that Murphy has to attend this stop-go penalty. So he won't be pushing too hard to try and get in front of the Kmart car. The order at the moment is Murphy, Scaife, Bright, Radisich, Brad Jones. Great start from the Aussie Mail Ford. He's in 5th. John Bowe in 6th. Cameron McLean in 7th.
And they've shown the black flag now to Murphy here. is the start. You see him creeping relative to Scafie, but of course we're not seeing the lights. But officials have adjudged that to be a jump start. It's another grey area in the sport at the moment.
Gee, I think if you advertised a job as a V8 supercar official in the paper now, you wouldn't get many takers, would you? It's going to be the toughest job in the business at the moment.
Well, it's not really. If you're consistent, is it? At the end of the day, I mean, there would be no criticism if everybody was treated in the same way for the same offence.
Bowes moved up to 5th. Brad Jones back to 6th. Let's go through the order. It's McLean, then Morris, then Richards, Ambrose, then Longhurst, McDougall, Kelly, Glenn Seaton, Stevie Johnson, Garth Tander, David Bernard, Russell Ingall, Cameron McConville, Jason Bargwana. It's your top 20.
Can't see. Now Lowndes there, but he's not showing. Not showing up on our timing monitor for some reason. But he's in there. You can see him sitting in behind the Pertec Ford. So hopefully they'll sort that problem with the official timing system and get Lowndes back on the board. But there he is, sitting in behind Marcus Ambrose, supposedly in 11th place. So these guys have been dealt a tough blow. The equivalent of, should explain that. The stop-go penalty they were awarded. The officials deem that a stop-go penalty here is worth 29 seconds in terms of race time. Here comes Murphy now to serve his stop-go. Flying down to pit lane.
Steam coming out the roof.
And now he has to stick to this regulated 60-kilometre-hour speed limit in pit lane.
Well, Greg Murphy would be absolutely fuming with this. Car 51 comes in. Ray Robbins standing by. Murphy given the stop-go penalty. Boy, that was a bit rusty, that, wasn't it? I'm not sure whether he got the...
Well, I just saw Ray Robbins showing him the red again.
Same here.
I think he's going to get called back in again. I don't think he actually came to a complete stop. You saw Ray Robbins turn the lollipop from green back to red again.
You're right, Mark, in my opinion. Yeah, I would definitely say you're right.
He didn't come to a complete stop.
There's no doubt about that, because Ray flipped it over again, didn't he?
Well, there you are. There's Ray Robbins and Tony Manson from Avesco. Greg Rust is on the spot as well, and he'll give us the story there. But didn't look like Ray Robbins was happy at all with that stop-go.
We must remind Rusty to comb the back of his hair just in case shots like this ever actually bob up in the telecast.
Well, drama upon drama for Greg Murphy and the Kmart Racing team. Mark Scaife now is your race leader. Jason Bright takes over second, so it's an HRT 1-2. Paul Radisich in third. Now, we believe this coming together between Ray Robbins, now Rob Crawford, the Kmart Racing team manager, is down there having a deep discussion, so there's plenty of bluing going on here at pit lane.
Can do.
I believe Greg Rust's got the story.
Well, I can tell you, boys, that it has been given the OK. Team boss Rob Crawford came down to have a word with Ray Robbins and some of the officials here. They said, well, Rob Crawford's words were, look, you got it a bit inconsistent with this paddle, which has got a red and a green on it. Green for go, red for stop for that stop-go penalty. In the end, they conceded it was a stop-go. It's been completed. Murphy's back out there.
Well, the whole point of it is to penalise him for his start, and he's certainly been penalised. All you have to do is have a look at a lap chart.
Well, drama upon drama. What an afternoon at Eastern Creek Raceway. Boy, oh boy. So now he gets shuffled right back in the pack.
Ambrose and Lowndes up to 9th and 10th now.
I'm just trying to see where Murphy is in the overall scheme of things.
He's buried.
He's almost off. He's off our timing screen at the moment, so he's gone virtually right to the back of the pack. He's got to try and fight his way up before these compulsory stops start now.
I have to say that the judge of fact for this championship season for the starts has been judging them more leniently than in the past. That was one issue that was brought up at the end of last year by a lot of team managers, that in some instances races were genuinely spoiled. I can think of one, and for no apparent reason. And but if he has actually jumped away now, it must have been such that it was absolutely clear and no grey area about it.
I think you can be pretty sure that Murphy's going to be one of the first cars in for his compulsory stop. There's no point in sitting back there in that queue, right at the back of the pack. He was 29th last time around, so he's gone right to the back of the order.
I think you'll find, Mark, that a load of them, as soon as the 8 laps comes up, everybody and their aunt is coming in, because a lot of them got caught with their trousers down last time.
That's right. So the order: Scaife, Bright, Radisich. Scaife's been the fastest on the circuit so far with a 33.4.
Well, we've had our man Nigel Greenway on the job. Gee, he's sharp, this guy. Remember, the officials deemed that 29 seconds was considered a stop-go penalty. Well, we've just done the sums on those in and out laps with Murphy. It was in fact 21 seconds. So maybe their judgments of what a stop-go penalty is are a bit severe as well. So the officials coming down hard here at Eastern Creek. Here's Brad Jones in 5th position. This is a great performance so far from the Aussie Male Ford team.
And from Cameron McLean as well.
Indeed.
So it just shows you what track position can do. Many of these cars that we don't see that often, it's not necessarily that they're off the pace, but they're not quick enough in qualifying.
Yeah,
you actually give them a break with some fresh air, they're not too bad. Shell Helix replay shows McLean's move on Jones. He gives him a little bit of a hello and welcome.
Dear.
And he gives a few more as well.
And Bradley just starts to take a bit of ground off him here, just to see whether he could argue it. But Cameron already had track position and had the corner exit speed to get the business done.
He's our race leader, Mark Scaife. Oh, damage here for David Bernard.
Oh, Bernard. God, he's having a terrible season so far.
Absolute shocker. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong for this bloke.
Oh, yeah,
he actually started to get a fair bit of speed out of this car by the finish of qualifying yesterday.
Marcus Ambrose has recorded the fastest lap of the race so far with a 1:33 flat. He, in fact, virtually everybody at the top of the order is in the 33s at the moment. The sun's gone behind the cloud, but it can have an immediate effect on lap times.
There's the split between Mark Scaife leading this race and Craig Lowndes in 5th, just under 16 seconds.
And Lowndes made 4 positions in the pit lane on the opposition. So, you know, they're still proving that that wasn't a fluke at Phillip Island.
So Mark Scaife continues where he left off in 2000, dominating at Eastern Creek, 4.6 seconds in front of his teammate Paul Radicic in 3rd. Look at that line of Fords. John Bowe, Craig Lowndes, Marcus Ambrose, McLean doing well in the Paragon car in 7th.
The shadows are getting longer. Lap 15 of 26 for Mark Scaife, race leader, race 2, round 3, Shell Championship Series from Eastern Creek. And he's got a margin of 4.8 seconds over Jason Bright. Then Paul Radicic, John Bowe, Craig Lowndes in 5th, Marcus Ambrose. And Cameron McLean 7th, Glenn Seaton, Todd Kelly, Jason Bargwana. One bloke who we were watching early on who's tumbled, and I don't know why, might not just have the pace. Brad Jones down in 14th now. So maybe he got a little bit of a shove or that car deteriorated. This is Stephen Richards. We heard before from Grant telling us that he had some problems and was stuck in the pit lane, obviously been rectified. Can't see Stephen in the top 27 on our timing monitor.
It's been an encouraging result for Cameron McLean. He's currently 7th, Queenslander. And after having a wrencher, there he is in the distinctive yellow and white car just in front of the FTR Ford. So this will be a good, strong result for Cameron McLean and the Greenfield Mowers team if he can bring this one home. Fastest lap, as Neil mentioned before, Marcus Ambrose, 1:33.00, set back on lap 11, where lap 16, 17. So the race really now just settling down into something of a rhythm.
Oh, right a bit wide.
Kelly actually looked like he was about to run wide at turn 1, but he kind of gathered it up a little bit as well. He's obviously got a bit of incentive to keep pushing on there at the moment. He's in 9th. He's looking for points, but he's right on the 9th edge. Bargs is back in 10th. Teammate Tander 11th. Fortunes have changed, unfortunately, for the Valvoline Cummins team as we go on board with Garth. Had a yak to both the boys this morning before the warm-up, and it's just that they know what's wrong with the cars. They can't quite put their finger on why. And it's been a tough start to the championship. It's remarkable how things change. Look at that sun as you come out of the back of Corporate Hill, out of turn 8 in the braking area for 9. It's quite difficult as the afternoon wears on to pick your braking point down there, and particularly when we get to this time of the year.
It used to be really bad at the end of the straight when the drag guys had been there. The circuit would be really shiny, and the sun had shined. You could see even standing in the pitch.
No, it's not the 4-man bobsled team, nor are these guys getting ready for the downhill luge. These are the pit crew members for Big Kev Racing for Paul Morris. And Paul's crew was so concerned after that incident where the gantry came down in Adelaide and hurt one of Mark Larkham's members that they went out and they've got these helmets that are more akin to skiing, but it improves their safety during the course of that busy time in pit lane.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea when you know what happened to Kenny McNamara at Adelaide when that gantry came tumbling over. I think Terry Morris and Big Kev got a bit of a scare at Oran Park last year too with that horrific accident involving Paul Morris. Really has put a I think woken them up to every safety precaution you can possibly take is worthwhile doing, and there's a classic example of it there.
It's a good idea, and you see examples of it in Formula One and also Champ Cars. That it's mandatory in both those categories of racing to protect the guys.
On board the Valvoline Cummins Commodore, and if you've never seen this before, this is telemetry coming directly from this car. Road speed on the left of screen, engine revs on the right, gear position and brake applications.
Let's have a listen for half a lap or so with the Valvoline Cummins Holden.
Oh, Ingle. That was good.
You're on board with Garth Tander. Russell Ingles stormed through on the inside of turn 1. Pretty gutsy move. And they find their way out of turn 2. So Ingle then taking Tander for 11th position.
Well, he's being very courteous with his left-hand indicator on there too, Russell. I might just pull out and pass you down the inside at turn 1. Do you think? We touched on the subject of Champ Cars before, and they're running in Texas this weekend on the high-banked oval. And for those of you that follow the Champ Cars, I can tell you that Kenny Brack for Team Rahal has pole position. Don't forget to join Bill Woods and myself tomorrow night on Network 10 as we go on board with Russell Ingall.
Alex Anardi's 6 as well, isn't he?
Yes, he is. A bit of a recovery after having a tough first couple of rounds.
Mark Scaife, meanwhile, has pumped out the gap between himself and Jason Bright to 5.5 seconds. Marcus Ambrose still has the fastest lap of the race, as you would expect this late in the day.
Remember that Russell is the ambassador for DreamDrive.tv. Check out the website, DreamDrive.tv, and you can play the racing game on the web.
There's Brad Jones, still hanging on there, but he's lost a lot of track position after that stunning opening speed. He's back in 14th place now, but as his brother and team manager Kim said, he has been feeling crook today. There's Gary Rogers, team manager for the Valvoline Cummins team. And I wonder what will be going through his mind. He's always a very positive thinker, Gary. But I'm sure he'll be worried about the sudden loss of competitiveness of these cars. They were right there with HRT for most of 2000. And they've come into 2001. And it's just been a completely different story.
This is for position.
Sneaks up the inside of Cameron McLean. Now we'll be on the outside for the next turn. Turn 3, the Greenfield Mowers car is going to fight. They're going to go side by side as they come across the top. Hard break into turn 4. Tander swaps sides. There could be contact there. No, he just pulls the nose with the Valvoline car. Bargwanna, I should say.
That was almost a great move, but Jason wisely got out at the right time, because that was definitely going to end up in pretty heavy contact.
Bargwanna doing a great job in that battle for 9th.
Remember Greg Murphy? Well, he's back in 15th at the moment after starting from pole, being adjudged to have rolled at the start, and he's steadily working away back there at the moment. He's actually got quite a lot of pace on. His last lap was a 1:33.9. In fact, he'd be very close to the quickest man on the circuit. Mark Scaife fractionally quicker on that lap. Clearly showing that he's got the car speed today, but things haven't gone his way.
On board with Craig Lowndes, sitting in behind John Bowe. Very impressive performance from the Caterpillar Ford team. I know I spoke to team manager Les Laidlaw just in the break.
See how long the guys carry the brake for on the way to turn 1. They've got the brake lights on all the way to the apex. You can actually carry your speed, which is about 265 odd Ks down the front straight, for a long time into the first turn. A very unusual technique. And then you've got to steady the car down to the apex, and you can kind of drive it off the other side. It's not attacked and driven through in the normal manner.
I was saying Les Laidlaw was showing me through this new car, and it's a beautiful piece of equipment, very nicely engineered, a lot of nice features on it. And John Bowe is certainly very happy with it. And you can see the results here. He's running well inside the top 10. It's been very difficult formation period for this team, but things coming together.
Still 6 laps to go, or a little less in fact, and with John in 4th and Craig right behind him, there's possibility of manoeuvre here, so we'll keep an eye on this one. There are pretty hefty margins between Scaife, Bright and Radicic, so this is the real battle. John's always been a tiger when it comes to being defensive. He knows his rights, he knows where to put the car and how to get away with it, and right at the moment he's making sure that Craig stays right where he is. Craig Lowndes glued to the back of John Bowe as we work towards the end of this second race at Eastern Creek International Raceway today, and he's really pressuring John, who's the sort of guy who tends to respond by digging in deeper. Not an easy guy to get around. I mean that in a professional sense. Yeah. He's a good, solid, hard charger.
He would just be relishing this opportunity. He's complained that he's been caught up in so many incidents. There's Fred Gibson watching on, the team manager of the Gibson Motorsport operation. But John was saying that it's been a very tough couple of seasons because he's found himself further back in the pack than he'd like to be, and there's been plenty of pushing and shoving and elbowing. And now he's got himself up into the top echelons of the grid. He's actually got some enjoyment back into his driving. He's really enjoying his weekend at Eastern Creek.
Of those that have been penalised in this race, and the notables are Lowndes, Ambrose and Murphy. Lowndes is the guy who's done the best in terms of the recovery. He's got Ambrose behind him, and Boggs is off.
I bet that was with Cameron McLean. There was a real...
This is turn 9, the hairpin behind the pits.
Real battle going on between his car and the Greenfield Mowers machine. And he's just been spat off there at turn 9. Plenty of damage on the side of the car.
John turning in a little later than Craig into 1. This time Lowndes is a little bit better position, but Bowe just moves gently across to the left. This is how close they get. But remember that bump that we saw Ambrose give to Murphy in race 1? That can cost you now. Here's a replay of what happened.
Oh, no. Engel up inside.
Yes, it is. Russell Ingall gets halfway down the outside of Jason Bargwanna. Leaves his signature in the door. Here's another view of that. And Parks comes off second best. Puts a bit of...
It's interesting watching that battle between John Bowe and Craig Lowndes. If Lowndes gets in front of Bowe, that'll bump Bowe off the podium. He could be standing on the podium this afternoon if he stays where he is, which would be a great moment for the Caterpillar team. So Bowe's fighting not only for track position, but a position on the podium as well.
As you say, JB's really good at making his thing wide. Well, in a nice way. He's not really sort of dirty or anything, is he? Good job.
I'm down here with John Cotter, who's watching his old mate Peter Dillman go around. You're at the sidelines at the moment. Now, you two have been to Bathurst longer, or the second longest pairing at Bathurst for quite some time, but you're calling it a day, John.
Yeah, well, that's right. Unfortunately, there comes a time in your life, you know, when you run out of money, and with Gatorade going, because they've gone and been taken over, we don't have a sponsor, so we don't have the money, and therefore age catches up.
It's been a fair motorsport marriage between you and Dorman. You know, as I said, second longest to Reed and Ashby.
Yes, we've been together now for 12 years. We've done 12 Bathursts together, and it's been a huge success for us. But I'm now 3 days, well, I've always been 3 days older than Larry Perkins, so maybe there's a message for Larry.
We all wish you the best in the afterlife, mate.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, great battle here. Craig Lowndes all over the back of the Caterpillar Falcon. John Bowe fighting to stay on the podium.
The rear tyres on the Cat car are looking a bit second-hand, I'd say. You can just tell by the way John's just eggshelling this car around the circuit at the moment.
Close.
Lowndes now. Look at this. Very, very close stuff. Lowndes going to take a risk and stick the nose of that car up the inside somewhere.
Right about now, if you're John Bowe, it's when you don't want 600 horsepower. You're using the throttle and you're doing it with the barest of pressure, gently bringing throttle in. See him glance up at the mirror there, and oh, that 00 thing's still right behind me. He's vulnerable here.
Traffic coming up here as they approach turn 9. And Tyler Mecklin gives them plenty of racing room. They duck down the inside.
That was great courtesy, very good.
So can John Bowe hold out this concerted charge from Craig Lowndes in the dying moments of this race? Mark Scaife, Jason Bright, Paul Radicic up ahead of them. Top 3 are pretty static. 2 laps remaining for the race leader, but John Bowe and Craig Lowndes still haven't sorted out this fight over 4th. Bowe desperate to get onto the podium. It's been a long time between drinks for JB. Last time he won a Shell Championship round was back in 1998 at Winton. This would be nice to at least get on the podium. Be a big lift for the Queensland-based squad, John Briggs Motorsport. And there's our race leader, Mark Scaife. He's done it pretty much right today. Fought his way through to 4th. Got a great start as a result of those official rulings in between race 1 and 2. Found himself on the outside of the front row, and he just blasted off into the distance after Murphy had to serve his stop-go penalty for jumping the start. So it's been another thoroughly professional performance from Mark Scaife, the reigning Shell Series champion. Just another indication of how this team, this formidable team, consistently string championship wins together. Well, we thought there were a lot of people in here. We can report that the crowd this weekend, 32,300 people over the 2 days. Last year it was only 22,600, so a massive increase through the gate. Interest in V8 supercar racing continues to soar. This battle continuing.
Who's your money on then, at least? You'd have to say JB, wouldn't you, really? Because, well, it depends. Just looking at the back of JB's thing, it's all over the show.
Well, he just has to be delicate with the car now, and he's now got a rhythm, and the car probably hasn't dropped off any further. It's doing 35, so it's...
Well, things have been changing behind him too. This chase by Murphy. Murphy now has got in front of Paul Morris. He's got enough points. He's actually 3rd. He's on the podium now. So he's bumped Bow off as a result of that move on Morris. Now Bow is just fighting for track position. There's plenty of pride on the line here amongst these Ford teams. They go back on board with Craig Lowndes coming out of turn 2. 1 lap remaining for race leader Mark Scaife, but this one's not over by a long shot. If you're in this car, Neil, where would you be looking? Where's the hot spot?
That was one of them. Yeah. No, I just thought, well, he really lost a little bit of time. He just dragged it onto the rev limit on the gear shift from 3rd to 4th down the hill, and you could see John get away slightly, but you also get that concertina effect where you think you're closer than you really are. But the only other opportunity might now be coming into turn 9. So nice and gentle through the corner, Craig. John had to have another dab of the brake, so he's vulnerable here. Craig uses all the road. John comes and crisscrosses. It's about game, set and match. Sometimes you can just poke him up the inside between 11 and 12, but you've got to be in the right spot at the right time. But here's the man in the right spot at the right time, and it's Mark Scaife who takes the 2nd race at Eastern Creek. The team congratulate him. Great effort. Jason Bright takes 2nd position. Paul Radisish will be 3rd, and then this battle is resolved in favour of John Bow for 4th, Craig Lowndes for 5th. Nothing he could do about it in the end. The crowd really appreciating today's racing. Marcus Ambrose will be 6th. Well, tremendous recovery by the Holden Racing team. That's the best way to summarize
incredible. You
that.
have to say they're simply the best, and that's all there is to it at the moment. There's no one can get near them. I mean, no matter what gets thrown at them, they still seem to come out on top.
Now, when you bumped into Scaife in the pits yesterday at about 5 o'clock, no way that he would imagine, let alone anybody else, that he would have cleaned up this one. He was not happy.
Look at the crowd here, massive.
And his last lap was at 1:34.5, so he still had good pace. Marcus Ambrose maintained the quickest race lap in that 2nd event, 1:33 flat. That's Craig Lowndes, just pulling off the gloves. Greg Murphy, incidentally, who started strongly from pole, who worked his way up to 11th. We just heard a message that he has apologised on the radio to his team for messing one up.
That's a nice way, isn't it?
Very frustrating for him, but it's just everybody's under pressure in so many ways. The drivers, the teams, the team managers, the engineers and the officials. Here's the Shell Helix race score. Mark Scaife, Jason Bright, 1-2 for HRT from Paul Radisish, John Bow, Craig Lowndes, Marcus Ambrose, Glenn Seaton, Todd Kelly. McLean, Tander, Murphy, Ingle, Morris, Jones, Johnson, McConville. Don't know what happened to Bradley, but he dropped off there. Bargwana, Perkins, McDougall, Longhurst, Larkham, Ellery, Wheel and Faulkner. An elated Mark Scaife takes the round win here at Eastern Creek. Tremendous performance. Who'd have thought that was possible this time yesterday afternoon? And here's the Shell Helix race score. Mark Scaife takes the win from Jason Bright, Paul Radisich, John Bow, Craig Lowndes. We thought he was going to be stronger, but that second race change of grid tumbled him down the order. Marcus Ambrose, Glenn Seaton, Todd Kelly, Cameron McLean. That's a great performance from Cameron. Garth Tander rounding out the top 10. Couple of blokes who did very ordinarily, probably not their fault to some extent, Glenn Seaton and Stephen Richards. Pretty tough day at the office for those guys. Now, Mark Osler is with the winners.
Well, the Holden Racing team have really dominated at Eastern Creek this weekend. The Fords may have reigned supreme in practice, but when the crunch really came, it was the TWR Australia team that really dominated. Put your hands together, folks. A wonderful effort. The man who had some problems of his own this weekend, but he managed to fight back to get his way on the podium. Put your hands together for Greg Murphy. Boy, what a weekend. You saw Lowndesy overtake under yellows, then you got caught by the officials. They're coming down hard this weekend, aren't they?
Well, that's what they said they'd do, and they're doing their job. And as long as they stay consistent and the fines are and the fences are dealt with the way they should, then so be it. But they got me as well, so I suppose it's even.
So the jump start, you admitting fault there?
Yeah, it started to roll, and I thought, oh no, here we go. And I hope no one would see it, but obviously they did. But anyway, just thanks to the guys. They've done an awesome job this weekend. The car was fantastic in qualifying. And, you know, we were very happy, and all today the car went really well. The guys did great stops, especially the second race when we jumped a heap of people. And towards the end, the car was great. And I'm just wrapped to be on the podium, and thanks to all you guys for hanging around for this. Cheers.
How about that, folks? Greg Murphy, Kmart Racing. It looks like they're going to be a very strong force throughout 2001. In second place today, gee, we saw him do a terrific drive from the back of the field to the front just 3 weeks ago on the streets of Adelaide. Pretty much he's done it again this weekend. Put your hands together for Jason Bright. Well, you were saying it was a very difficult fight from the back at Adelaide. Looks like it was this weekend. That brand new car, took you a while to get it dialed in, but look at this, you're up on the podium now.
Yeah, it's certainly been testing us this weekend, but full credit to the guys at Holden Racing team. We've been working hard at it, and if you had told me yesterday morning that we were going to be up on the podium, I probably would have snotted you one, but it's all came together, and I think we've got to thank the officials more than anyone, because they got rid of all the guys in front of us.
You blokes can do that yourself pretty effectively. Now tell me, the new car, you yourself, very strong combination. You said coming into this year, I'm joining Holden Racing team because I want to win the championship. Well, you're certainly delivering straight out of the box.
Yeah, it's all coming together. You know, we've got, I think, the next couple of rounds will certainly suit me a bit better. Here this weekend, it's just been a bit of a battle with the new car. So I think going back to Darwin, where I had my last win in the other company, it's we're looking good.
Holden Racing team working well for you?
Yeah, it is. You know, they're a great bunch of guys, and you know, I think the results we've had so far show that.
Okay, put your hands together, folks. Jason Bright, second here, leading the championship coming into this one. Well, he really is the comeback kid. So many times the Holden Racing team have done it. Mark Scaife, brilliant drive through to win this one. Put your hands together for Scaife. If I would have said you would have won this race yesterday, Brighty was talking about snotting me, I reckon you would have given me a hit as well.
Well, when I made such a stupid mistake in qualifying and caught both pedals and speared off and was 10th, I was pretty dark on myself last night, and the guys have done a fantastic job today. I mean, for Holden to have the three cars up here when you saw Lowndes and Ambrose and those guys going so well early, the boys have done an unbelievable job.
It's really good. You said that when Craig left the team, you really wanted a highly competitive teammate. Looks like you got one in Jason Bright. You guys are really at the top of the tree.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, that's what it's about. If you've got that, then you're trying to beat each other, and then you're trying to beat the rest. And there's plenty of competition up and down this pit lane now. It's probably the strongest touring car racing's been in history. Congratulations, Mark Scaife. And now call on Ross Brody, Motorsport Manager for Shell, to make the presentation to our winner. Put your hands together, folks. Mark Scaife, the big winner at Eastern Creek Raceway. All to unfold at Hidden Valley in a few weeks' time.
And here's the Progressive Championship points. And Jason Bright, after 3 rounds, is on top of the game with 940 from teammate Mark Scaife, 890. So that's a close little battle. Stephen Johnson, the best of the Fords, in third, 716. Then we've got Russell Ingall, Todd Kelly, Greg Murphy, pretty top-heavy in Holden land. Then Craig Lowndes is 7th. Marcus Ambrose, Glenn Seaton and Stephen Richards. Barry Sheen, today was a day that Ford, they had it all in the palm of their hands, and then one way or another it just got through. It was amazing.
Can't believe it, can you? I mean, this morning you would have said definitely there would have had to have been a Ford in the first three, and they just don't seem to get the luck and don't put it together. I don't honestly know. You know, I'd have to say with Lounsey, I think that was a very unfair call by the officials, because when you look at it, the onboard shot, it's going very, very quick around the left-hander, looking at the hairpin, can he get past Murphy or whatever it is? I really don't think that was fair.
And pretty tough for Marcus, because he was probably the first guy to feel the fury of the firmness that we're now seeing from the stewards, and he copped a penalty for it.
Well, the firmness today, but what about tomorrow? You know, what's the next one in Derby? We'll have to wait and see, you know, but basically they've made a rod for their own back now, because from here on in, it's so professional, they have to do the same thing. So if they do that, no one's going to moan. We're not going to moan, and nobody else is.
And I think you've really got a feel for Glenn Seaton and Stephen Richards qualifying 3rd and 4th, and Glenn jumping off the line in that first race and bolting and then getting trapped by the safety car.
Well, exactly that. I mean, it's sod's law, isn't it? You know, really, basically, it could have happened to anybody. But now I think you'll find that the way things have panned out so far this year, the best thing is to come in nice and early, and there's no doubt about that.
And HRT get out of jail once again. Jason Bright, Mark Scaife and Greg Murphy, tremendous performance.